That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Okay guys, before we get into the video, I need to give y'all a massive disclaimer. I was not even really planning on making this video because I think a lot of people that are going to go out here and talk about this topic they're going to be overconfident because nobody knows what we are going to see. Nobody really knows what to expect. We can go out here and try to project what is going to happen, but at the end of the day, that is all we're doing. We're just trying to make educated guesses, and we are trying to make fantasy football decisions on what these guesses are going to lead to. But regardless, I just want to put out this disclaimer that by no means am I fully 100% confident in the things that I'm going to discuss in this video, because we have never seen this before. And if anybody else tells you that they are confident and they act like they really know what's going to happen, they are just maybe lying to you, maybe lying to themselves, maybe both. But regardless, it's just not the case. Okay, but guys, also, I want to give y'all a massive thank you. Almost 10,000 subscribers. We are the fastest growing fantasy football channel on YouTube. It's all because of y'all. I can't wait till y'all see the stream tonight and see the upgraded background that we're gonna have behind us. And at the same time, I can't wait till y'all come in and hang out with me every single night as we stream, because we are going to be continuing to stream every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, and Sunday mornings. So guys, if you have not been hanging out with us in our streams, just make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you have the bell on, then you're going to be notified when we go live. You can come in and I'll answer all fantasy football questions. Okay, but let's get into this discussion, and it's going to be gross. I'm not going to hide this fact. But let's first talk about the Tennessee Titans and all the news that we have up to date. Now, I'm not going to focus on the specific numbers. Okay, I think we have like 4 or 5 staff members test positive. I think we have 4 players test positive. None of that really matters. What matters is, when is this game going to kick off, and when are we going to end up seeing that we can play these players in our fantasy football lineup. Now, I got a couple what I perceive to be like, not dumb questions, but just questions that I don't think have any merit in the live stream last night that I kind of want to just discuss a little bit to make sure that we are on the same page and that we don't necessarily think that this is the way you should move your fantasy football league. One question that I got that I think is a horrendous idea is, someone asked me what I thought about making this a bye week in fantasy football and pretty much just washing this out entirely and then go forward after that with one less week in the regular season. And guys, I will say that this is a horrendous idea for multiple reasons. One, because we know the NFL season is already so short, and fantasy football is just such a high volatility game where you are just trying to get the largest sample size that you possibly can. So by shortening that sample size any further than it already is, you are just going to be increasing randomness and it's kind of like just playing roulette at that point. Just not anything that's going to require skill. You want to be able to see the best players in your league be able to go out there and grind out the entire 13 regular season games in fantasy football and really differentiate themselves over the other players. And so that is one reason that I would look to not do that. And two, some people went out there and made moves, made waiver wire decisions based on what we are going to see going forward in week 4. And if you just go out there and entirely erase this week, yes, you may be helping a team that has a Derrick Henry and an AJ Brown, but you are going to be hurting every other owner who went out there and was not planning for this as well. And then our last reason why I think this is going to be a horrendous idea is I think this is not going to be this is not going to be the last instance that we see COVID kind of infiltrate some locker rooms, get in there and have a game either postponed or entirely canceled. What we are going to have to do is we are going to have to continue to roll as is. You cannot change your fantasy football schedule whatsoever. I think that would just be a horrendous idea, because maybe if we were guaranteed that this was going to be the only week that this was going to happen, yeah, maybe I could see some merit in doing it. But knowing that this is probably not going to be the last time, that would just be horrendous. Now, let's just talk about when we think the Titans are going to play and when we think we should be going out there and plugging in their skill position guys into our fantasy football lineups. First, I think I will confidently say that the Titans are going to play on either Monday or Tuesday night. I think that it's going to be very hard for the NFL to really change anything outside of this because, one, we know the NFL just needs their money. We know that the NFL is just the definition of capitalism. This league is going to go out there and do anything for a profit, and you can't blame them. They make so much money every year, and losing out on this game is definitely going to draw a lot of unwanted attention to the NFL, who has done a fantastic job so far with COVID of going out there. And I am personally extremely surprised that we lasted 4 weeks until this happened. I thought this was going to be something we were dealing with every single single week. And I think the NFL is kind of thriving off this, that when the entire world is talking about COVID, it's just not getting into the NFL system, and you're able to just focus in on what we are used to and not necessarily COVID. So I think that's one storyline that they do not want to make just a major storyline going forward. So that's one reason that I expect this game to be kicked off Monday or Tuesday. Two, I think it's going to be very hard if you go out there and you extend the season by an extra game, because like I said earlier, this is not going to be the first instance of this happening. So where maybe if we just see that we only see 2 or 3 of these instances throughout the entire season, it would make a ton of sense for a team to go out there, the league to go out there and add on an optional week 18 in case your team does get hit with something like this and you have to shut down operations for a week, and then you reschedule that matchup until week 18. But then what happens if a team has this happen multiple times in a season? What happens if we just see the schedules come into conflict? So this is another reason why you cannot go out there and expect this to happen. So I am really projecting that the Tennessee Titans are going to play either on Monday or Tuesday night. Now, what I think we have to kind of look into is, what do we think the Tennessee Titans players are going to be able to do with a week off? It's going to be, we've never seen this before, which is why I'm saying that it's very hard to project. We've never seen a team go a week without practices and then go in and try to play a game, and especially going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, where it's just going to be an absolute brutal matchup. So personally, I am trying to, if you can, I am knocking down Derrick Henry. I am knocking down A.J. Brown in all of my fantasy football rankings this week. One, because there is that outside chance that this game does not happen. Like I said earlier, I think it will. But there is also just a chance that due to them going out there and not really getting any practices in throughout the week, they're talking about all their game plan over Zoom, which I don't know how that's going to work. And then they're having their first walkthrough on Saturday. That is just going to be absolutely brutal with what you can expect this Tennessee Titans offense and defense to go out there and perform against one of the best teams in the NFL. So yeah, the Tennessee Titans is just an overall situation where if you own them in fantasy football, I'm going to try to avoid starting any of their players wherever I can. But I don't think that we should expect this game to be canceled. But if you are choosing between a guy like, say, a James Conner or a Derrick Henry, I think at this point you're definitely going to want to go with the player that's been practicing all week, and that team looks like, what I really want to do is I want to go and try to find some Vegas lines on this game at the moment. I want to see where it opened and with where it is now, because I just personally have no idea how to project just giving an entire team a week off and then going in with pretty much just your entire game plan discussed over Zoom, how that is actually going to work out in real life. It's easy to sit here and talk about and kind of project, but I just plainly don't know. So this is going to be a situation I'm staying away from. And same thing with the Minnesota Vikings. I know that the Minnesota Vikings had shut down their team facility for, I believe I read it was going to take 48 hours to get all the tests in and everybody good to go. I don't necessarily know when exactly that means they are going to be opening back up and when they're going to be able to start practicing again. This is something that there could quite easily be details out there on that I just entirely missed. I tried to do some research into finding out, but there was really nothing that I could find. So if you do know anything about when the Minnesota Vikings are going to be able to go out and participate in team practices yet again, please let me know in the comments, because that is going to be something that's massive, projecting them out for week 4. And overall, if we do see the Minnesota Vikings go out there and they either get their game postponed, or they go out there and they just see that they are playing on Sunday, but they are not going to be able to have a full week of practices, this is going to be another situation where I am just entirely wanting to stay away from every skill player involved. That's Adam Thielen. That's Justin Jefferson. That's Dalvin Cook. Obviously, if you have a guy like Dalvin Cook, you're not going to start Ronald Jones over him. But if you're breaking tiebreakers between a guy like Dalvin Cook and James Robinson, maybe you go with the James Robinson having a great matchup and then also having a full week of practice, and we understand what his team is going to be able to go out there and do in week 4, where with these other situations, we just have no idea. So guys, I know this video was kind of all over the place, but I've never seen this before. I don't know what to expect. I would love to know what y'all expect in the comments. And overall, I think that we are going to look to go out there and we are going to try to avoid the Tennessee Titans players where we can. I think we're going to go out there and try to avoid the Minnesota Vikings players where we can. And maybe this is going to open up some interesting buy opportunities later on in the season. If we see Derrick Henry go out there and just have an abysmal game where this Tennessee Titans team can't move the ball down the field against an elite Pittsburgh defense, maybe you kind of just save this little thought in your brain for now. That way, 7 days from now, you can go out there and you can try to trade for one of these Tennessee Titans players, because we can kind of rationalize away, if they do disappoint in week 4, the reasoning behind it, as well as the Minnesota Vikings players. But thanks, guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed the video. I really hope y'all got something useful from it. And I'm just, guys, this is going to be something. It's extremely, extremely important to see how the NFL handles this and how these teams perform in their matchups this week. Because like I said earlier on in the video, I don't think this is the last time we see a situation like this. So please go out there and try to just take notes, see what is happening, and see if when later on we can go out there and we can try to draw one-for-one comparisons and see if we are going to be able to have a better time projecting future teams. But yeah, that's all I got for this video. Guys, I really hope I see y'all on the stream tonight or tomorrow or the next day, whenever y'all are watching this video. Yeah, that's all I got for y'all. Have a great day.